Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our program today. Like you all know, this is in continuation of the program that is currently ongoing, which is actually a series program on youth development. And the topic today that we'll continue to have the conversation is on Money Matters Mastery, Empowering Youth Financial Fitness webinar series. We hope that you actually had a nice time with us last week, and we hope that you actually have a wonderful time with us this week. And it is important that we also bring our speaker on board, Mrs. Shola Ade Sakin. Sorry, ma'am, if I didn't pronounce her name rightly. You're welcome, and thank you for being on our program today once more. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I am glad to be here and excited to be here again today. I believe we had an amazing time last week, and today is not going to be any different. I know that, yes, the things that we started to learn from last week, we have, started to implement. And I know that today, as we take things a notch higher, would improve on our financial literacy skills and take action. Don't forget that when we talk about financial literacy, there are three things to bear in mind. It's about the mindset, it's about the knowledge set, and it's about the skill set when it comes to winning with your finances. The first thing is what I call the mindset, having the right mindset, having the right skill set, and having the right knowledge set. Last week, we talked about, very basic things to get us started, which is savings. And savings falls under the skill set. When we talk about the mindset, it is important to understand that, there are basic things that you need to bear in mind when it comes to your finances. For example, understanding that money is a resource, money is a tool. Money is inanimate. You are animate. You're definitely wiser than money. Bearing in mind that unlike what people say about money not being in abundant supply, you have to believe that, hey, there's money enough to go around, because some people are actually very wealthy and some people are actually very poor. What makes a difference? It's in the knowledge. It's in the ability to implement the knowledge, that makes a difference. So having the right mindset is very important. I don't know why I'm choosing to start this way, but there are, of course, a lot of myths about money, that people sort of embrace. There are a lot of, money beliefs that are fundamentally flawed. That, if we continue to have those things as a belief system, we won't be able to do amazing things with money. And one of those beliefs that I have seen people exhibit over time, would be things like, oh, money is not grown on trees. Which is not, I'm not arguing against that. But what that belief teaches, or what it passes across, is the fact that, hey, money is very hard to come by. Another belief system is that a lot of people think that you can't have money if you're not corrupt. That's another fundamentally flawed belief. Some people would say, money is hard to come by, or unless you dip your hands into some things, you cannot have money. So there are lots of things that sort of jeopardize and sort of hinder our ability to create wealth. And it is important that we look at some of those things before we then start to consider the knowledge and then the skill set. And part of the skill set is what we'll be talking about today, which is investment. Of course, how do you gain knowledge? This is what we're doing. Special thanks to the American Center, the American spaces in Nigeria, for putting together this initiative. So you gain knowledge by attending sessions like this. You gain knowledge by attending webinars. You gain knowledge by reading books, right? You gain knowledge by exchanging notes with your friends, with your family members. You gain knowledge by following those who know, right? So you don't have to wait for opportunities like this to come up before you gain knowledge. You can go after knowledge yourself, because knowledge is important. Predominantly, one of the things that differentiate those who are wealthy from those who are poor is the amount of knowledge that the wealthy people have, what they already know. So you need to know, you need to embrace knowledge, and then you need to start to practice those things. Now, we're talking about the skill set. So don't forget, I've said the mindset is important. The mindset that you can be wealthy, the mindset that you have all it takes to jumpstart your journey to financial freedom, the mindset that hey, money is available. If you provide the right amount of value, money will flow towards you. The mindset that not just a few people are sort of predestinated to be rich or to be wealthy. Everybody can be wealthy as long as you do the right things, you follow the right money principles. And then I talked about knowledge. Now, today we're talking about a very important element of skill sets. Don't forget that last week we talked about savings. Now, when we talk about the skill set for maximizing your resources or for making money, there are many things and there are different things that you need to know. Part of it is knowing how to invest your money. Part of it is knowing how to save your money, knowing how to plan, knowing how to budget, knowing how to do so many other things. So you see that it's just a combination of many things. So when you see somebody who is wealthy, I bet, and if you ask them questions, they will mention these three things: the mindset, the knowledge set, and doing the right things. I'm glad that we spoke about savings as a sort of foundation last week, foundation for building wealth, because you can't, in my opinion, effectively start to invest if you have not learned how to save. So I tell people that saving money is like the kindergarten or the primary school, elementary school, and investing is like the high school. You take it, a notch higher. And even in investing, there are different levels. So you have the high school, then you have colleges, you have, universities when it comes to investing. But let's start at the very basic level. And I believe that everybody who is listening to me definitely listened to the session about savings last week. If you didn't, after the session, make sure you catch up, the replay on YouTube or wherever so that you can understand the dynamics of saving money. Because I'm just going to build on what we already established, right, last week. Well, I am going to start sharing my slides and then we'll take this conversation a notch higher. All right, can you see my screen? I believe you can see my screen. And then we start to talk about investment IQ, building streams of income for a wealthy future. And I already said that, investing is just one element of the skill sets needed for building wealth. Do you see? It's just one. There are many other things that you need to master. You need to be able to plan your money. You need to be able to put some money aside. I can see people on the screen. If you were here last week, just raise your hand. For those who are, I see Majiguri, I see Bauchi. Yes, I see their videos on. So you were here last week. Let me see your hands again. And you learned something last week. Let me see your hand. Anybody in the room? Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Well done. All right, so today let's take the conversation a notch higher. Let's talk about investment. And I'm going to try and make this basic. So sometimes it may come across as too basic, and sometimes it may come across as too complex, really. So just try and follow me. I will break this down as much as I can. I see Oka people. Well done. Oka, were you here last week? Did you learn from what we did? Let me see your hands up if you were at the session last week and if you learned. Yes, I see some hands up. Well done. So let's talk about investment as a tool for wealth creation. Ideally, I would have loved to make this a bit interactive to find out what we know about investment. I don't know if we can make that possible, but from each of the centers, can somebody just tell us? Maybe you can chat, or maybe you can just tell us what when investment come to mind, the word investment or the word investing, when it comes to mind, or when you hear about it, what comes to mind? Or what has your personal experience been when it comes to investments? Can anybody just quickly answer that question. Is it possible, admin, for us to get somebody? So I see somebody's hand from Bauchi. Can we take the young man in the face cap? All
okay.
right.
Yes, good afternoon. When we talk about investing, what comes to mind immediately is your ability as a person to set aside a little of your income for future use. Either it could be for immediate future or it could be on a long term that you aim to build it up in order that one day, with the hope of one day, that investment will build up to become something of a greater use. Thank you.
Well done. I absolutely love what you said. Putting aside a portion of your income for future use. And yes, of course, using that, whatever, to make more money for yourself. I love it. Can we have somebody from Majiguri to also tell us what they think about investment? Yeah, Majiguri, you're here. Who wants to tell us? Please go ahead, Majiguri. You can unmute yourself, I guess.
Phyllis. But I think whenever I hear of investment, I'm thinking about how to increase my income, and therefore placing little things to make me have something in advance that will serve me time to come. That's always my thinking about investment that can lead me into the future life.
Well done. I love it. Increasing your income. Well done. Yes. Thank you for chipping in your bid. Can we get somebody from Oka? Yes, madam. I see your hand, the woman in front, the lady in front. Yes, go for it, please.
Putting aside parts, I see investment as putting aside part of your resources, income, to plunge again into the system for a future increase and future use.
I love it. Plunging aside or putting aside a part of your income, right? Yes, for future use, and plunging it into something that would make it, give you more income. Well done. And thank you, everybody, for chipping in your bids. Obviously, I am not speaking to beginners. We all have an idea of what investing is, and it gives me joy. So I'm just going to build on the foundation that we already have. All right. Investing as a tool for wealth creation. I love it. What is investment? Which is what we already answered. And I love agriculture a lot. I love farming. I love the concept of, planting, or what you call sowing and reaping. I have a small, very small flower garden in my home, and I'm always intrigued by, what happens. There's a particular, on a lighter note, there's a particular plant that I have in my garden. And this flower, when you look at it in the morning, it looks very dull, right? The flower buds are closed. And I'm like, when I first planted it, or when my garden first planted it, I didn't quite understand, I would say in the morning, this garden is not looking bright. I didn't quite understand or observe what was happening. But by like 10 o'clock, the flower buds would then open up. Then I would see white, flowers, purple flowers. And then I'll be like, what's happening? Then by 2 o'clock, those flowers would be on the floor. All the ground would be, the floor would be littered. And then by evening, you will see new buds forming, still closed. Then one day I asked my gardener, and I'm like, what's the name of this flower? And he said, the name of the flower is Morning Glory. And that flower has the seasons of, and it happens every morning. Such an amazing piece of of nature. It happens every morning. So there's a season for it to sort of shell away or sort of, how do I put it now? The flowers like literally fall off and then something new comes up by the next morning. Amazing. So investment is like planting a seed. I know that in this current day and age, every one of us should at least be interested in farming to an extent because of what is happening in the country, right? Just understanding the concept of agriculture. But finance and investments literally has many similarities with planting and with agriculture and with farming. So investment is like you planting a seed. When you invest, you put your money into something, right? Hoping that over time it will grow and give you more money back than you started with. Now, let me quickly pause and sort of explain this. When we talk about personal finance, there are different ways for you to make money. You can exchange your time for money. There's a book called The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, and it says there are 4 ways to typically make money. You can exchange your time for money. That means, a company is giving you money for working as their employee. So you go to work 20 times a month and they pay you salary at the end of the month. That means whenever you don't go to work and you are not on leave, you are not likely to be paid. Do you see? Then it says you can be a self-employed person whereby you monetize your gift and talent in exchange for money. What does that mean? You know how to maybe weave hair. You have a skill, Sha. Maybe you can sing, or you can write, or you have a gift or talent that you monetize. In that instance, you are also still exchanging your time for money because when you are not there, for example, a makeup artist who, carries a box and, does makeup, and then on a Saturday when she's meant to provide that service, she falls ill. What happens is that she's not able to do that makeup service and she won't be paid. So if you're not exchanging your time, if you're not actually delivering that service, you're not going to be paid. So if she falls ill or she's under the weather, then she's not going to be paid. What happens? She loses that money. Then it says the 3rd quadrant is when you are a business owner. As a business owner, you have leverage. You leverage other people's time, resources, and talents. For example, a Dangote, who owns the richest man in Africa, as the last time I checked, who has a cement factory, who has sugar factory, who has pasta factory, who does a lot of things. It doesn't have to be there, but it will continue to make money. That's leverage, right? So Robert Kiyosaki says you can use other people's time and resources and skills and even money in some cases to make money. Then he says the 4th quadrant is a quadrant of investment where your money makes more money for you. With investing, apart from the initial time that you use to set up that investment, your investments literally will be the one working. Your money is the one working for you. We'll talk about different asset classes, but I really like the concept of investment because it doesn't entail you using your time. Robert Kiyosaki says the best place to be is to earn money from business and from investments. Now, it's not as if it's not good to earn money as an employee or earn money as a self-employed. But for those 2 quadrants, it entails your time. If you don't show up, then there's no money. Do you see? If you are not there, they won't pay you salary. If you don't show up in a month, you won't be paid. If you don't show up within a week and you are not on leave, you won't be paid. And you know what? When it comes to using your time to earn money, time is a limited resource. Do you understand? So you can only spend a number of hours in a day to do work. You have to sleep, you have to eat, you have to sort of, do other things. So once you use your time for money, you must aim at building enough money as investment so that your investment will make more money or your money will make more money. It's so sweet that you have investment in some stuff, whether you are sleeping or not, the money is working and it comes back in form of returns or dividends. I want to believe that a couple of us must have heard about shares. That's if we are not actively buying it already. Now you put your money in stocks and in shares, you don't know what's happening. Some people are managing it for you. Then maybe 1 year after they tell you you have dividends, literally your money has gone to work for you. It doesn't have to do with how much time you are putting it. So this act of investing is such a phenomenal one. And wealthy people actually leverage investment to grow their wealth. Don't forget what I said. It's good to exchange your time for money, but because time is a limited resource, there's an extent to which you can go when it comes to exchanging your time for money. So the goal, one of your financial goals can be to make more money to invest so that your money is able to make more money for you, right? Independent of your time. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not saying don't exchange your time for money. No. I am saying whilst you exchange your time for money, another financial goal you could have is to invest and to make your money make more money for you. Are we together? Are you learning something? Yes. So investment, again, is like planting a seed. When you invest, you put your money into something, and then you hope that your money makes more money for you. Again, just like gardening, when you have a garden or farming, investing requires patience and care. And while there's always the risk that the seed might not grow, with the right conditions and choices, it can blossom into something much bigger. I'll talk about that later, right? Talk to farmers. You know, I have conversations with farmers. I have some investments in that space as well. They know that it is not everything that they plant that will come back, right? Well, yeah, they plant maybe like 50 crops or 50 seeds. Maybe two might not, refine at the end of the day, but once you have the right conditions, once you have the right seeds, put it in the right things, and you water it, then it will come out. And the good thing about investments, just like seed, is that when you put one thing, when in farming, your seed, just one seed, has the potential of bringing more returns to you, right? All right, so let's go on. Now, we've established that investing is making your money work for you, sending your money on an errand, which is fantastic, and expecting that your money will yield returns. I love it. But I have also seen that, a lot of times people have invested and they have lost money. Now, is there anybody in this room who has invested and has lost money? Well, I envy you. You have never lost money. I love it. Please cut some soap for me, as they say. But I am a seasoned investor, right? In some cases, I have won very big. In some cases, I've lost money. In some cases, I'm still waiting for my investments to come back. Do you see? I see that Majigiri has their hand raised up. Is it that you have something to say? Oh, there's somebody in white. Do you want to say something? Please allow it.
Yes. So,
Right.
I have told the question that you have put on that. I have invested some amount of money in micro demand, and up to today, I have not been able to read anything. For more than 2-3 years now, I have not been able to get anything from them.
Right. Thank you so much. Well done. Yes, just like I was saying, sometimes the seed, right, is bad, or the soil is bad, right? But we'll talk about it. Now, this, as we go into the meat of this conversation, I just want you to follow me here, and we'll learn one or two things together. Investing is quite interesting, at the same time full of risks. Last week, I talked about saving money, and I said saving money is putting money aside, right? And investing is putting money to work. So I like to tell people, some people may not agree, but I think to be an effective investor, right, you need to learn how to, first of all, put the money aside and put it to work. I was speaking somewhere a few days ago, and I was saying that, and they were saying, "No, what kind of investments can we do?" Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, calm down. I know a lot of people want their money to work for you, but you need to understand a few things. You need to understand the dynamics of investment before you jump into it. You need to safeguard the money, your hard-earned money that you have been saving, so that you don't put it in the right soil and you lose everything. So again, I'm reminding you about what we discussed last week. Learn to first of all save. Learn to first of all put money aside, then put it to work. Now, before you invest, what are some of the things to consider? 4 things, very important. And the first thing is that understand your financial situation. And I'll tell you why I am saying this. People will come to you with different investment schemes and opportunities. Oh, this one is the next. Many people are making money. Nospecto, World Solutions. There are more recent ones. MMM. I remember when MMM was raining. Maybe I'm one of the very few that didn't do it, but I am aware that a lot of people around me did it. But I just wasn't going to be tempted, because I'd done investments in the past that failed. And, so, do MMM. Well, people did it, they lost money. Some people didn't do it. Now, when next somebody comes to you with an investment opportunity, these are some of the things you need to bear in mind. Number one, your financial situation. Somebody who is earning 500,000 per month comes to you about an investment, and they are willing to invest 300,000 of their salary, which is not that's their choice. But you are earning 100,000, and you're earning 120,000, and they are telling you, put down 100,000. You will not regret it. Should you not sort of take a step back to think about it, to say, this person is earning 500,000. He wants to put 300,000 into that investment. That means he still has 200,000 naira left. He wants me to put 100,000 down out of my own 120,000 salary. Is it reasonable? No. Some other people, they want to make you invest because of maybe the finder's fee or the commission that they're going to earn on it. They themselves, they're not investing in it, and you don't know. And many of us, we will not ask questions. We'll say, there's an investment. If you invest 100K in 2 weeks, you collect 600K. And you would not say, wait, what that you're telling me about it, what are you investing? How much are you investing? How much have you invested in the past? How much have you earned from it? And then we get so carried away by those things, and then we put our money, and then we lose money, and then we start to say investment is not good. No, because you're not asking the right questions. So before you invest, consider your financial situation. Don't forget that last week we talked about a bit of budgeting. I'm going to talk about it again today. How do you even know how much you should save or invest? Right? That's why there's no conversation about money that we shouldn't be talking about financial planning or budgeting. How much are you earning? How much do you actually have as disposable income on a monthly basis? And I think last week, I will still talk about it today. Before you invest, you also need to consider, okay, I am earning 200,000 per month, either a salary or from my business. Last week, I told us at least 50% of your earnings should go into your necessities. What are necessities? Everything you need to survive. House rent, mortgage in some cases, right? Fuel. What else? Data, right? What else? School fees. So you take that out, 50%, whatever constitutes your need to have or your sustenance, yes. Then I also advise that we also take care of ourselves. So a percentage, in my own opinion, I think 20% of whatever you earn should also go into you. So I call it nice to have, so that you don't keep depriving yourself of the basic things that you should enjoy from time to time. Agreed. These things are not necessary for sustenance or for living, but they also help you. You're like the engine, and I shared a story last week, and I said I have a friend, every month when she earns her salary, she takes herself to a restaurant and she will say, hey, before everybody comes after my money from taxes and everything, enjoy your money as well, right? So that's what I call the nice to have. So 20%. Then the remaining 30%, don't forget I said 50% for your need to have, 20% for your nice to have. The remaining 30% is what you save and invest, right? Again, this is not a specific financial advice, it's just a guide. Some people might say, no, 80% is what goes into my necessities. 10% is what goes into my savings. 10% is what goes into me taking care of myself. However, whatever works for you, just make sure you plan. By the time you plan, you have an idea of what you have available for savings and investments. But again, don't keep your savings and investment as the last thing. People will say, the money is not even enough. The money will not always be enough, and it's not a curse, right? Even wealthy people, rich people always want to make more money. We all can do better with more money. So don't always leave your savings and investments as the last thing. You now spend money and then you say, okay, what is left for me to save and invest? If you do that, you will never invest money. So I suggest that as you are taking aside the money for your sustenance and necessities, put aside the money for savings as well. So 50, 20, 30 rule or whatever works for you. So when you know how much you have available for investment, then when an investment opportunity shows up, you're able to invest. But you know what a lot of us do? We don't do financial planning. We don't do budgeting. When they say there's an investment, you now take all your money, including the money for necessities, including the money for your rent, your money for whatever, you now go and invest it. Then when anything goes wrong, you'll be like, these investment people, they are mad, they are bad. And then we start to curse. No. If you understand financial planning, you would understand that you must plan. You must know the limit. You must know how much you have to invest. And you must be disciplined not to go beyond that amount so that you are taking care of your necessities, you're taking care of yourself, and then you are also investing and saving money. Because again, if you get overwhelmed by your current financial circumstances and your current needs, and you don't put money aside as savings or investment, what will happen is you will then have to borrow when there are emergencies or when there are needs. So it's very funny, and it's very, I don't want to say complex, but it is important to take care of your today and your tomorrow. And the way you can take care of your financial tomorrow is by putting money aside in savings and investments, no matter how small it is, right? Sometimes you're just driving on the road and then something happens to your car and then you have to pay for it. That's when savings come in. But for investments, investment makes you more money. The return on your investments can help you sort out some of your current bills. And it can also help you even save more and invest more for the future. Number two thing that you need to consider before you start to invest is your goals. I've realized that a lot of us don't have goals. We don't have financial goals. And largely because we think that the money we make is not enough. So you're like, why should I set goals? I want to appeal to you from today. Don't judge your current financial don't judge your potential by your current financial circumstances. That you don't have a lot of money now does not mean you can't have a lot of money. And the things that you do now literally would follow you into when you now have a lot of money. If you don't build the right money muscles, if you don't do the right, you don't have the right money habits, when you then have a lot of money, and that's why I tell people, if you can't save money when you're earning 30,000, if you cannot put aside at least 3,000, when you earn more, you possibly or probably find it difficult because you have not imbibed the right habits. So when we talk about goals, set goals. Goals are, after all, things that you aspire to do, not necessarily things that you can do right now. So I tell people, when you're setting financial goals, you can have short-term goals, you can have mid-term goals, you can have long-term goals. Short-term goals are the things you intend to do within the next 1 year. For example, you need to pay your rent, you need to pay your children's school fees, right? You need to do a few more things. Those are short-term. Mid-term goals are things that you would like to do within, say, 2 years to 5 years. And long-term goals are the things that you like to do maybe 5 years and above. And some people will say, I know some people will say, 2 years, 5 years. Do you even know what will happen by then? Listen, where were you 5 years ago? For me, 5 years ago, I can tell you where I was 5 years ago. It seems like yesterday. So let's not think that, oh, you know what, let's just live for the moment, right? So when we talk about understanding your goals before you invest, it will help you channel your money aright. If you have a short-term goal of paying your rent, then somebody comes with an investment opportunity that will not, come back until next year. Are you supposed to put your money in it? No. For example, if you're supposed to pay your rent in June, and they say, oh, this investment, you will get your money back in November. Are you supposed to do it? No. Because you know that by June, you have a goal of paying your rent. If many of us set goals or have learned the importance of goal setting, we probably would not have done some transactions or put our money in some things. So before you invest, or as you invest, always bear your goals in mind. Another thing you must bear in mind before you invest, or as you invest, is your age. I know that, from photos that I'm seeing from the different American centers, there are quite a number of young people, a lot of young people. Listen, as young people, time is your friend. And the way young people invest cannot be the way people in their 50s or 60s invest. Those who are 50, those who are 60, they are closer to retirement. A 50-year-old, 60-year-old person cannot say because the younger people around them have been screaming about cryptocurrency, they want to now go and put their retirement money in cryptocurrency. It will end up in premium tiers. Not because I'm saying cryptocurrency is not a viable asset class, we'll come to that later. But because if anything happens and the market crashes, the time you have to recoup your money is not as much as the person who is in their 20s. If somebody in their 20s, if they lose money, they have so much time to replay in the market and to do some other things. But you are 55, you are 62, or no, you are 58. You know that you're retiring in the next 7 years. You're not going to say, they say cryptocurrency is good, let's put our money there. You'll be doing yourself a great disadvantage. So as you invest, and as we talk about the different asset classes, bear your age in mind. That's why we say personal finance is personal finance. You have to consider many personal things. You can't just do things because people are doing things. You can't invest because everybody is investing in a particular thing. You must ask yourself these personal questions. Then finally, you must also consider your risk temperament. Some of us, if you lose small money like this, the whole world will know because you are upset, you are angry, you are disappointed. But some people, if they lose money, they don't care. They will make it back. Your risk, you also need to bear in mind your risk temperament. That's why when you are investing, always ask, what is the risk profile of this investment? This is why we are doing this, financial literacy. These things you are learning, the things you will learn, should set you aside from every other person. This is investment literacy. This is personal financial literacy. Ask them, what's the risk profile? Is it low risk? Is it medium risk? Is it high risk? Because when it comes to risk temperaments, we have different risks. Temperaments. Some people are risk averse. They're very conservative. They don't want to lose nobody wants to lose their money. But sometimes things happen. When things happen, the way we react to these things differ. So some people are conservative. Some people are medium, like they are not conservative, they are not aggressive. And some people are aggressive. So as we go deeper in this investment conversation, please, these 4 things, always bear them in mind before you put your money in investment. Your financial situation, your goals, your age, and your risk temperament. Are we together? Let me know if you're together and if you're learning something. Now, let me throw back a question at us. 1 person each from the centers. How many of you have invested in anything? And listening to me now, you realize that you didn't consider some of these things. Anybody wants to talk? You just went straight, you deep dived into the investment without considering these things. Who wants to talk? Anybody? Just raise your hand. Yes. Bauchi. By the way, I served in Bauchi. So American Space Bauchi, well done. Okay, tell us.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Adam Mohammed. Go ahead. My name is Adam Mohammed. I've once invested in buying some grains, and it's now that I consider that I've not think of this SGR factors before investing. That is, my financial situation is not good enough that time. I don't have goals, but I do believe that the age I am at that current time is good for me, and I don't have risk temperament. That's at that very moment.
Well done. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. Oka wants to share.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
As for me, okay, I would say as I invested in cryptocurrency and stock market.
Right. And you didn't consider some of these things. Did you consider some of these things?
Okay, actually, yes, as financial situation, I noticed that between rest I will be able to finish my undergraduate program, so I decided to venture my money to something profitable. So, and then my goal was to raise double my money or triple my money, but the money I invested was quite big, so was to invest and grow my money. In fact, the main goal was actually buying companies. So I will start from buying stocks. After buying stock, the company gets almost 50% of the company shares. Then start can at least become a chairman in the company, something like that.
Well done. Well done. Thank you for sharing your experience. And I hope you are making the money already. Are you making the money?
Yes.
Is the money coming in?
Yes.
Well done. Well done. Well done. Thank you for sharing. All right. Any other person, and then I can go on into the next part of the conversation. All right. Now that we have established the things to always bear in mind. Listen, as a chartered accountant, I have lost I don't want to say a lot of money. I have lost money in this investment game. It's not a game, it's a lifestyle, because I've become a regular investor now, and I have learned my lessons. In some cases, I regret some of the things that I did. Some other cases, It was just part of the learning curve. And that's why I can teach you some of these things and make you understand, the basic things that you need to bear in mind as you invest. All right, let's go on. I already talked about the importance of setting financial goals. It's important. Let's not just go through the motion. Oh, I want to make money. I want to invest. Why are you investing? Do you want to invest to buy a car? Do you want to invest to buy a house? Do you want to invest so that you can raise money to invest in bigger things? Do you want to invest to sort of pay your rent? It's important. And that's one of the things that I do these days. When I put my money in a particular stuff and they say, okay, you're getting 15%, in my mind already would say, when the money comes back, I'm either plowing it back or I am just going to take the return to meet a particular thing I want to do, either to buy an asset or to pay a bill. So when we talk about personal finance, let's not just do things like, okay, I just want to make money. Why are you making money? Why are you saving? Why are you investing? Right? So set financial goals, smart ones. We all know what that means. Make it specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound. And like I said, split your goals into 3 different categories: short-term, mid-term, long-term. Some of you, your goal might be to relocate in 2 years, and you're actively sweating your money so that there'll be enough money for you to accomplish that goal. I'm going to go on now. And I already said, develop a realistic budget so that you know the amount that you have available for investing. It is important. Now, let's talk about the next thing. Again, as you start to invest, because investing is not something you just do one-off and you say, I invested 20 years ago. How about now? If you want to increase your finances, if you want to start your journey to wealth building, investing, in addition to making money through your income, must be a lifestyle. So you can't just investment or investing is not a one-off thing. You keep learning the right knowledge and the right skill set so that when a particular investment matures, you know what to do next. You know what to do. You know how to plug it into the next thing. And you make it a lifestyle. Some of us need to actually learn the art of investing. Go for a course and learn how to invest so that you're not just relying, oh, is my husband or is my wife or is somebody. And you put the very important decision about your financial life or your financial success in the hands of people. Don't get me wrong, there'll be people that will know about investing, about personal finance more than you. But you need to also understand that you need to understand it for yourself. So that when they say some things, you're able to say, no, I'm aware that no. let me, an example comes to mind as I speak. On Twitter yesterday, I don't know how many of you saw that news. A woman in the US, the widow of some guy, I can't remember the name now. Maybe somebody can check for us. She gave the sum of $1 billion to the Albert Einstein's medical school in New York. And she said, going forward, nobody should pay tuition. Nobody should pay school fees. Imagine, medical school. And it was all over the news. So I went to read more about her. Obviously, her husband, because she's a widow, her husband in 1968 had bought some shares of Warren Buffett's company that is called Berkshire Hathaway. Yes. The guy had bought some shares of that company in 1968. I don't know how much it costed then. But as of yesterday, one share of Warren Buffett's company was $619,000. One. And that's about almost 1.1 billion naira. Now, I know your head is everywhere. That was how my head was like yesterday. So the lady pledged, because the stocks that her husband left for her had so much appreciated in price. And she looked at it and it was worth billions of dollars. And then she took 1 billion and pledged it to the school to say, the medical students, let them not pay. Look at the long-term impact of investing. Her husband bought the shares in 1968. How many years ago is 1968 now? About 56 years ago. See the power of investment and investing for the long term. So when we invest, let's not invest. I mean, these days, I know there's that temptation to want to make money over. But what I see is that a lot of people just want to invest and collect the money, chop it. Like you invest 500, oh, the money has come back, 520K. Both the 500 and the 20K, you chop it, and then you're looking for the next money to invest. No, investing can be a lifestyle and a long-term plan. Let me tell you a practical story. When I was going to start investing a few years ago, I did ajo. Do you know ajo? What we call thrift contribution. I did ajo 100,000 for 10 months. And I think I can't remember the number. I will come back to ajo now because these days I think some of the contributions that we do are too long. Anyway, when I collected my money, it was 1 million. I took it to a bank, not a bank, an asset management company. And I told myself, this is my seed money for my investment journey. That 1 million has become many millions now. I didn't invest it and take it back. And personally, I don't even invest money. Maybe very few occasions is when I will take part of the return. So I'm saying that to be successful at investment, you have to see it as a long-term thing. Whereby, like that woman whose husband bought shares in 1968, whatever they bought the shares for, over the years, it has appreciated, and is a largesse, literally. Now, Warren Buffett, the owner of the company, I think he's going to be 93 this year or 94 in August. He started to invest when he was 10. First of all, he started to sell stuff. He sold Coca-Cola, sold newspaper. Then he started to buy stocks of company. We will come to that, what it means in a bit. Started to buy stocks at 11, at 12, at 14. He bought his first farmland, 40-acre farmland. The guy is 94, is one of the 10 richest men in the world. His company is called Berkshire Hathaway. When we finish, you can go and Google it. One stock is $619,000. Was $619,000 as of yesterday. When you multiply that by our current dollar rate, it's about 1 billion. Abi? Yes, now. $600,000. Let me quickly do the calculation so that I'm not. So how much is dollar today, guys? 619. Let's even say 17, right? Yeah. That's about 1 billion. Now, this guy started investing when he was 10, and now he has built, the share price of his company is the highest in the world. So I am encouraging you, let's take investment more seriously. And let's plan to invest for the long term. So create a personalized investment plan. Now, this is different from your budget. Your budget encompasses your expenses, your income that is coming in, your savings. But when it comes to investments, you see, that money you are putting aside on a monthly basis as savings and investment, have a plan for it. And we'll go into some of the things that you can invest in so that this becomes more relatable. American Connor Ikeja, can you hear me? And are you learning something? Let me see your hand if you're learning. Awesome, brilliant, well done. Now, as you create your investment plan, one of the things you can bear in mind is As I start to invest, do I want my capital to grow? For example, I gave my own example that I started my investment with 1 million naira many years ago. Yes, one of my goals was to make that 1 million naira grow. And trust me, even though I've lost some money, the money has grown. Some people, when they invest, they just want their investment to constantly give them returns. That might be a goal for you, an investment goal, as you craft your investment plan. And then some people will say, I just want the money to be preserved. So some people want their 1 million to become 10 million in 10 years. Some people want their 1 million to be returning a certain amount on a monthly basis for them. And some people will say, me, I don't care. But when I need my money, I want it to be preserved, capital preservation. So as you invest, bear those things in mind. Again, I am saying that I know that in this age, everybody just wants to quickly invest and give me the money, I'm out. You go and chop it, then you go and raise money again to start to invest. As you invest, why do I want to invest? And what do I want to bring out of this investment? Now, listen to me. I know I've said my own investment started with 1 million. Your own may start with 5,000 naira. Don't say that Coach Shola said, if you don't have 1 million, you cannot invest. No, I didn't say that. If you start your investment journey with 5,000 naira, just like I started mine with 1 million, and just like some people started their own with 10 million or whatever, you have a right to be called an investor. And what matters in the long run is the consistency and building the right habits and stacking that 5,000. The day you have 1,000 extra, you put it there. The day you have 2,000 extra, the day you have 10,000 naira extra, you're building for the long haul. That's what I'm saying. So whether your own is 2,000 naira or 1,000 or 5,000 or 50,000, 100,000, what I'm saying is plan to be an investor for the long haul and imbibe the right habits. So let's go on. Coach Shola, I have heard you. How can I start to invest? How many of you feel like that? What can I start to invest in? I want to build my portfolio just like you. I want to build my portfolio like Warren Buffett. I want to start to talk in millions. I want to move my investment from 5,000 to 50 million in 10 years. Is it possible? In 5 years? Is it possible? Yes. But you must be invested in financial literacy and knowledge. So what are the things we can start to invest in? This list is by no means exhaustive. It's just to get you started. Now, we are thankful to the American Spaces for this laudable initiative. But listen, guys, this is a seed. After this series, after this program, you will go back, everything that you have learned. You will start to do research. You will follow people who know these things, coaches, all of the things that you have learned. Follow your facilitators online. Go to YouTube. If you follow, I'm available everywhere. I'm available on Instagram, Shola Adeshaki, Shola_Adeshaki. YouTube, my videos are there. These things that you are learning will definitely not be all that you need to know, because there are things I will not touch. There are things I will not talk about, but you must constantly add knowledge to knowledge. So let's go into the things that you can start to invest in like right now. And I'm going to stay on this screen. We're almost done for a while. We call them asset classes, the things that you can invest in. Now, assets are interchangeable words with investments. But assets, we define assets as things that have the potential of returning economic value to you. And I'll give an example. So this is my watch. I'm wearing a watch, right? Or my handbag is somewhere. When I buy a handbag, especially if it's not a luxury handbag that I can resell, it's an expense. because that handbag cannot return economic value to me. Abi? But if I buy, for example, a stock, that stock or that share or that mutual fund has a potential of returning economic value to me. So investments are assets, and assets are things that have the potential of making you money. Do you see the difference? So again, maybe you're buying something, sometimes ask yourself, the goal is to have more assets. The goal is to have things that can return money for you. So when you are under temptation and you're like, hey, I want to buy this thing, especially women. This next thing, I'm not saying don't live an amazing life or don't buy those things. I'm saying that, especially for young people, you have time on your side. You can do and undo. The goal is to, I don't like to use the word hustle, but the goal is to work so that you can buy assets. My mom worked a long time. She made, quite a decent amount of money. She worked as a secretary. She worked as a caterer. She worked as a trader. She would leave her office many years ago, on a Friday night, go to London, buy stuff, bring them back to Nigeria, sell them. But in retrospect, she's 74 this year. She would say, where did all my money go? Because she wasn't buying assets. What are assets? Property, real estate, things that just have the potential value of returning economic value to you now and in the future. So I think that, one of the goals we should have also is to build assets. And income is not assets. Income is the money you make. If you don't channel it well, it will soon be gone. You need to tie your income, your salary, you need to tie it down as assets so it doesn't go away. I tell people that money is derived from the word currency, right? Current. And currency is derived from the word current. Current of the sea. It likes to be everywhere. If you don't tame money, your money will be everywhere. And that's why some of us say, I don't know where my money has gone. But your money is not a living thing now. It's the way you spend it. So make an attempt to also tie your money down by buying assets. So what are the things to invest in? Number one, I call them cash and cash equivalents. If you are just starting out your investment journey, cash and cash equivalents are things like, as the name implies, cash and cash equivalent. They are low risk. They are easily convertible to cash. For example, fixed deposit. How many of us have done, these days they don't do fixed deposit a lot, but how many of us know what fixed deposits are? Can I see your hands? You go to the bank, you have a sizable amount of money, and you tell them, rather than keeping the money in my savings or current account, put it in a fixed deposit fund. What it means is that go and work with the money on my behalf. Let it generate returns. Last week, I remember talking about how unsafe it is to leave your savings. How many of you were there in your current account or your savings account? Number one, if you put money in your savings account in the bank, what's the interest they'll be giving you? 0.5%. You are losing money. So don't say you are saving and then you leave it in a regular savings account in the bank. You are not getting any decent returns on. And I also said, if you leave your money in an account, current account, where if you lose your card, anybody can swipe the money away, then what's the essence? If you have a sizable amount of money, an example of cash and cash equivalent is fixed deposit, whereby rather than just putting your money in your bank account, you can tell them to fix it for you. I don't know what the rates are, but I don't think it's lower than 8% or 10%, which is better than savings account. Who knows what fixed deposits return these days? Does anybody know who has fixed money in the last few months? I'm not sure. I've not done fixed deposit in a long time, but I'm telling you the options that are available. So under cash and cash equivalents, you have fixed deposit. You also have what I call mutual funds. How many of you have heard of mutual funds before? Anybody? Mutual funds, yes. There are a lot of mutual fund types. For example, Stanbic IBTC has a lot of mutual funds, like 8 types. There's money market mutual fund, there's Sharia mutual fund, there's guaranteed mutual fund, there's equity mutual, many types. But when we talk about low risk and easily converted to cash, whereby if you put 5,000 naira there today, you go tomorrow, it is 5,010 naira or 20 naira, it doesn't decrease. That one is what I call money market mutual fund, because they are invested. So a mutual fund is, I put my money down, you put your money down, everybody puts their money down, then the fund manager manages it on our behalf and pays us a return. That's what it means. So money market mutual fund is easy because they invest it in very liquid assets. And the ease of entry is there because you can put your money there today, collect it in 24 hours. But I don't advise that. Remember, we are building an investment portfolio. So under cash and cash equivalent, you have what? You have mutual funds, money market mutual funds, because there are other types of mutual funds. You have fixed deposit, right? They are low risk. They are easily, why am I saying easily? They are easily converted to cash. You can take your money anytime. You can add to it anytime. That's asset class number one. And you can see it in the image on the screen. Cash on that pie, cash and cash equivalents. Savings accounts, which I don't advise. I've said fixed deposit and money market mutual fund. Now let's go to number 2 type of asset class. Is what I call bonds or fixed income. Bonds or fixed income. Now, what it means is what it means. Fixed income means when you are investing, you already know the rate ahead of time. In Nigeria, the federal government issues a lot of fixed income vehicles or, asset investments. For example, federal government saving bonds. Through the Debt Management Office, DMO, they issue federal government saving bonds every month. What does that mean? The government themselves are borrowing money from the masses. So it's a minimum of 5,000 naira, and they borrow your money for sometimes 2 years, sometimes 3 years. And they pay, as at the last time I checked, they pay the returns or the interest every quarter. I've done it many years ago. So you can start with 5,000. If you have more in multiples of 5,000, you can do it. They get all your details, your interest comes into your account on a quarterly basis. And it is usually fixed income because they will tell you for 2 years, we'll pay you 14% per annum or 13% per annum or whatever the prevailing rate is. Now, this is different from the first asset class, which is cash and cash equivalent, because those ones, the rate changes. Your fixed deposit might be 12% today, tomorrow it might be 11.4, depending on the market dynamics. But for fixed income securities, you are tied in at a particular rate. So examples of fixed income is federal government saving bonds. Then there's the federal government bonds that some banks issue. Those ones sometimes, they are government bonds that are dated 2028, 2032. They are long term. And they pay coupons like twice a year. Under fixed income asset class, you also have what we call treasury bills. How many of you have heard of treasury bills before? Now, treasury bills are also issued by the government to borrow money from the masses. Now, the advantage of treasury bills is that, for example, if they say the rate of the treasury bill is 16%, and you want to invest 100,000, the return is what? 16,000, right? If it is for 1 year. The good thing about treasury bills is that you will collect your 16,000 upfront. As you are investing, that's where you collect your 16,000. That's why treasury bill is different from mutual funds and other saving bonds. Saving bonds or other fixed income, they pay you your interest after. But for treasury bills, you have the option of taking your interest upfront. so that at the expiration of the investment, you collect just your capital. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, the federal government issued a treasury bill and it sold at 19%, the highest in a long time or ever. So anybody who invested 1 million would have received 190,000 naira upfront for 1 year or 364 days. Fantastic. The only thing is that at the end of 1 year, at the end of 364 days, treasury bills are within 1 year. You'll be collecting your 1 million. Time value of money. Maybe the money would have lost value, but those who do it, do it. I don't even want to go into the time value of money and how inflation affects our money, but maybe before we finish, I'll talk about it. So, depending on how much you have, fixed income asset class, or what I call bonds, are also low risk investment, because most times they're issued by governments or corporations or corporates or companies that are very credible. The chances of you losing your money slim. So we call it low risk. There is no investment, no matter who is issuing it, that is no risk. There's nothing such as no risk investment. No. Risk is an inherent part of investment. The only thing is that the risk element differs. That's why some investments are low risk, some are high risk. Now, the third asset class you can consider is what you call equities. Now, when we move into equities, we are moving into medium risk and high risk. Let me ask you, how many of you have bought shares ever? Let me see. Raise your hand. How many of you have bought shares? Now, shares is what you call stocks as well. Stocks, shares, thank you. What does it mean to buy a stock? What are equities? Equities mean, literally, you buy the share of a company at the prevailing market price, and that makes you become a shareholder in a company or a co-owner. Let's take a sample example. MTN in Nigeria. I think 3 years ago, they went public and they started to sell their shares. Now, when companies sell their shares, they're making the company a public liability company. It moves from a private company, right? Companies, there are a lot of private companies because their shares cannot be bought. But when a company sells its shares, it is known as a PLC, a public liability company, right? That means that anybody can buy the shares. So MTN sells their shares, they go public. Once you buy, you're a shareholder, no matter how small the amount is, because you are literally putting your money down for them as a co-owner for them to operate their company. Right, so there are shareholders that have a lot of stocks or shares, and there are shareholders that have a tiny bit. As long as you buy the share of a company, you have become a shareholder. You have a right to vote. Your name goes into the registry as a shareholder. So when we talk about equities, equities means shareholding or stock. Remember the story I told you about the woman who gave a pledge of 1 billion? I said her husband bought a stock. What it meant was the husband bought shares in Warren Buffett's company, making him a shareholder. The good thing is that these days you can buy the shares of even all of those companies that you use. And not just locally. You can buy shares globally. From Nigeria, do you know you can buy shares of public listed companies, actually? Not public, did I call it publicly listed companies, that's PLC. Right. You can buy the shares of Google, Tesla, Facebook, even Warren Buffett's company that I mentioned. What's the name of the company again now? I mentioned it earlier on. Berkshire Hathaway. You can buy. You can buy the stock of any company you like, even from Nigeria. And the good thing is that you can buy now fractionally. What does that mean? Remember I said that the share price of that company is $619,000. You can buy $10 worth these days. That's what technology has done for us. You can buy $15 worth. I own a fraction of Warren Buffett's company. I'm from Nigeria. I didn't have to go to America to buy it. That's what technology has done. So what stocks or what companies should you buy into? It's up to you. But this is my own personal policy. If I use you, I buy you. The banks, I use 3 banks in Nigeria, I have their shares. As they're collecting my charges, when they pay dividends, dividend is when they make profit, they share it amongst the shareholders. I get my own. US companies, because I'm also an accountant, I understand, some of I read their books, I read about their performance, I buy them. There are apps in Nigeria. I mean, this is not specific advice, but apps like Bamboo will help you buy fractional shares from Nigeria. If you go to your stockbroker in Nigeria, there are a lot of them that are now online that have apps with which you can buy stocks, local stocks, Nigerian stocks, and international stocks. And you know that with 5,000 naira, you can buy stocks fractionally. Apple, Google, Tesla, all of those things. Now, this asset class, equity, is medium risk. And that's why you have to be careful before you put your money in any investment, like we have said. You see, the cash and cash equivalent and fixed income, if you put your rent there, when you need the money, you are sure that the money is there and it would have made returns. But if you put your return, I mean your money in equities asset class, you don't have control. And that's what you hear. When you hear the market is up, the market is down. There are a lot of things that determine how the market is doing, and it is outside of your control. So you put, let's say, 10,000 or 100,000 in the stock market. When you need your money, it might be down to 78,000, and it might be up to 120,000. So if you follow the news, they will say, oh, Nigeria Stock Exchange, bullish run, this and that. People have made a lot of money from the equities asset class, but it is very risky. But if you're young, yes, you can play the game the long term. My mother I've been buying stocks for years when stocks were really doing well. When something happened, she sold her stocks to build a house many years ago. These days, I know that technology has sort of revolutionized the world of personal finance, stocks, business. These days, it might not be as smooth as that. But if you are long-term oriented with your investment goals, you can buy stocks and keep it for the long term, especially for the younger people. Right? Are we still together? Are you still learning something? Are you sure? Bauchi, Maduguri, Ikeja, are you learning something? Those are the people I can see their videos. We're almost wrapping up. I think this is the second to my last slide. Under equities, you can buy individual stocks. So you can buy MTN, GTB, and globally you can buy, you do your research and determine the stocks you want to buy, and fractionally, 5,000 every month, 5,000 every month, 5,000 every month. Under equities as well, you can buy what we call ETFs, exchange traded funds. So rather than buying individual stocks, you can buy funds that track different sectors. You can buy funds that track the technology sector. So rather than buying, what are some of the stocks in the technology sector? For example, in Nigeria, MTN and all of those things. So rather than buying MTN, you can buy an ETF, a fund that tracks technology overseas. You can buy stocks. For example, there's a fund called S&P 500. That fund tracks the top 500 companies in America. So if you buy that ETF, that means you are buying indirectly into all of the companies in that fund, all of those 500 companies. So you can buy individual stocks, you can buy ETFs. Do you see? Under equities. So it depends. Again, like I said, what I teach today will not be enough. You still have to go do your research, do your due diligence, know what you can absorb, and all of that. Let's go into the next asset class. Another asset class, what can you invest in? Real estate. I know some people will be here, I don't have money, I'm just starting. But do you know that there are a couple of apps in Nigeria that enable you to buy real estate in bits and pieces for a long time? There are real estate opportunities that you can buy over 5 years. Listen, guys, Rome was not built in a day. So you have to make up your mind that you're playing this game the long time. I know we see social media makes us see a lot of rich people. They all have their stories. They all started from somewhere. Look at the example of Warren Buffett that I gave, who has been investing for 84 years. 84. Just imagine. Right. I know that social media glamorizes instant success, but we're talking about, building.
So is it like compulsory? Because I just want to understand.
That person unmuted themselves. So, okay. So real estate. Sometimes real estate, you can come together, buy a land, buy a farmland, come together, buy a property. There are different ways to play. And there are apps that will even help you buy real estate in bits or partner with people to buy. So do your due diligence and find out. When it comes to investment, trust is a very important word. You have to do your due diligence. And then the other asset class I'd like to talk about is commodities. When we talk about commodities, there are many things. Cryptocurrency, gold, coffee, and many of those things. They're the riskiest. They are high risk. So real estate might be medium to, but ideally real estate, if you invest in real estate and you do it with the right people, the right way, the land or the property will always be there. But these days, there are a lot of people who scam people, so be careful. But commodities, hey, very risky. How many of you have lost money in crypto before? Anybody? Okay, how many of you have invested in crypto? Right. Well done. I'm not going to go deep into it, but I'm just giving you an idea of things you can invest. Go and read more about it. Cryptocurrency is like a digital currency. These days, the nature of money keeps evolving. 10 years ago, cryptocurrency was not a thing. In the next 5 or 10 years, we don't know what will be existing, right? But as finance enthusiasts, as young people, we must always be ready to learn. So cryptocurrency, they say Bitcoin, they say Ethereum, they say this and that. Digital asset, go and read more. If your risk appetite can accommodate it, but I tell people, for high risk assets, don't put the money you can't afford to lose. 2 or 3 years ago, there was a bullish run with crypto, and then it came down. People lost money, people were crying. Now, I've been seeing news, crypto is going up again. You cannot just go and put your rent money in cryptocurrency and say, they say crypto is the thing. Sometimes it ends in premium tiers. So be careful. These days also, there are ETFs, exchange-traded funds, that track crypto, that track gold. These days, you don't have to buy gold physically. There are ETFs, exchange-traded funds that track gold that you can buy, actually. What are the other forms of investment you can do? Angel investing. Some people, billionaires, wealthy people, and sometimes not really wealthy people, they source for startup businesses and they put their money there. Say, okay, we believe in you, we believe in whatever you're doing. Why not? When you make money, pay us back. There's angel investing, which is different from venture capital. Right. Those are other things. There are companies, tech is just so crazy. There are companies who aggregate money from small investors. They put it together to invest in startup companies. There are a lot of companies that you know in Nigeria. For example, how many of you know Paystack? Do you know that Paystack, a few years ago, there were a set of investors that put money together? That's an example of angel investing or venture capital. When the company grew big or bigger, Stripe, an American company, came to acquire it. What did that mean? They paid off every investor who had invested in it. So somebody who invested maybe $10,000 might have been paid off 50, I don't know the exact terms. So sometimes startup businesses could be viable. The final thing I would like to say, what you can invest in is your own business. A lot of times we are looking for where we can put our money in because everybody's putting their money there. But you have a viable business. Maybe you need to also put more money into what you're doing for organic growth. Think about it. What gift and talent can you monetize? Or if you have started a business and it looks promising, should you invest more in that business? Should you plow back your profit? I tell people that the downside of putting all your money in one business is that if it fails, if anything happens, you don't have a plan B. So even if you have a business, I still suggest that you invest in some of these asset classes. So basically, that's it. Maybe during the Q&A session, I can answer specific questions on things that you can invest in. But what I have literally said so far is investing is you sending your money to work. Your money can get to places that you cannot get to. Investing is also planning for the future. And I've said, invest for the long haul. Don't invest for short term, collect your money and spend it. I have said, consider the SGR factors, your financial situation, your goals, your age, and your risk temperament. Consider your risk temperament, which is important. Consider the asset classes. Personal finance is very personal. So you need knowledge. You need the skills to be able to invest effectively. I've come to the end of my slides. We'll take questions. But I am the lead coach and founder of Smart Stewards. And what we do is to provide this information that I provided at more granular levels. We teach you to make, manage, and multiply your money. You can check us out, Smart Stewards, across different social media platforms. You can check me out as well, Shola Adeshaki. It will be difficult to miss me. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, and on YouTube. Thank you for listening. We will now take questions. Well done.
Yes, we need to appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Shola. Thank you for that insightful session. Please, if you have questions, raise your virtual hand, or you can chat. So, American Center Lagos, please unmute and ask your question.
Yes, I've unmuted already. Yeah, I want to ask two questions. Are you with me?
Go ahead. She can hear you.
Yeah, I wanted to know if stocks, if they can be transferred from one person, like, okay, I buy a share in a company, or I have a stock in a company. Then I want to transfer it to somebody of my own choice that is not a shareholder in that company. As maybe I find out that maybe I'm failing in health or I'm getting older. Can I transfer it to somebody else? Or and that's the first question. The second question is, if I have a shareholder, okay, let me say a friend of mine is also a shareholder in the same company with which I buy my own shares. Can I transfer my share to him or sell it to that person? Or I have to sell it to the company for the company to sell to another person? Can I sell to somebody of my own choice?
Okay, thank you.
Well done. Thank you. Thank you for the question. Okay, so as to whether you can gift shares, yes. You can gift out shares through your stockbroker. These days, everybody, shareholders are listed on what you call the CSCS platform in Nigeria. So that means you have a CSCS account. The person you are gifting has a CSCS account. I don't know how flexible and how easy it is, but it is doable. So that means you both have to go to your shareholder, whatever, our stockbroker, and initiate the process, and they will tell you exactly what you should do. So yes, you can gift out shares. Even on Bamboo, the app that I mentioned, there's a way you can gift shares. But in that instance, I think you have to buy or something. But I'm not a stockbroker. If you approach your stockbroker, they will tell you how to go about it. Secondly, shares are fungible, just like money. If I give you $100 note, $100 note, if you want to give it back to me, it doesn't have to be that particular note that I gave you, which makes it fungible. So why do you want to give that person your exact stock? If you don't give them your exact stock, even if you give them your exact stock, the stock is the same stock. Do you get my point? So if you want to, there's no, what's the word? There's no stamp on the stock that it is your own stock. So why are you insistent on giving them your own stock? If you want to give them, just tell them I want to give out this stock, and the process applies. It doesn't have to be, I don't know how to explain it, but go and read what it means for something to be fungible. It doesn't have to be your own stock. It can be, as long as you want to give out stock, give out a stock, right? If you want to sell a stock, you will sell it on the market. Anybody can buy it. There's nothing in your own name like, okay, this is my own stock, oh, Mr. A. I want to give Mr. A's stock to this person. Do you understand my point? So yes, again, you can gift stocks, go through your stockbroker, and you can sell stocks. You can use the same stockbroker. When you sell, the person buys. But it doesn't mean that it is your own particular stock that they are buying. I hope that helps.
Okay. Okay, you can ask your questions. Good afternoon.
Yes. My name is I have the issue online store. I always use the platform not to invest. Then I put my money behind gold. So it will not increase, it's always increase. I don't know what I will do so that I will have the analysis, so that I will have the idea and know the one that will increase and what that will not increase. So I've invested one time and keep on losing. So I want the one that I will invest my money so that I can get profit. So that's my question. Thank you.
I'm not sure I got the question. It wasn't quite audible. Does anybody want to help me repeat the question?
I think what he was trying to say is the fact that he's been investing with a platform called Luno, and he has been investing in gold. Instead of the investment going up, anytime he invests, the thing keeps coming down. So he wants to know what is not going well, so that when he invests, the thing will appreciate.
All right, thank you. I have said many things about investments. So again, it depends on what that platform is investing in. If they are investing in stocks are risky. They don't have control. So maybe the time you're investing, or you're in a season where the market is not doing exactly well, the value of your stock will continue to come down. Now, ideally, if the market does well, then the value of your shares should go up, or the value of your investment. I'm also aware that there are platforms whereby they invest in many things. They invest in real estate, they invest in mutual funds, they invest in many things together. So sometimes it's like a weighted average. If one asset class is not doing well, it might affect the entire portfolio. I am not against investing through platforms that invest in many things. But I think as individuals, we need to also build our own portfolio. Do you understand? Whereby you have your own stocks that you have control. Because those companies that you're using, if anything happens to them, you're likely to lose your investment. So buy your own stocks with your own stockbroker. You have control. You can change. You can decide that I want to sell these stocks at any point in time. So you are buying directly. Buy your own mutual funds through your bank. So have that your own portfolio, personalized portfolio, and then you can decide to now buy through this platform where you don't have control. You are their mercy. If they are good fund managers, well, you'll be fine. And sometimes it's not because they are not good fund managers. It might just be that the market is not doing well. So you don't have control over what they are doing with your money. Do you get my point? So establish your own portfolio by yourself, first of all. Then you can do that as additional. Now, I don't know what they are buying, so I can't say why your portfolio or the value of your investments with them keeps going down. We don't know. So, and it is what it is. But one of the goals is to also build your own portfolio in such a way that you have a bit of control. You can decide, no, sell it now. And then, of course, you need investment knowledge as well. Do you get my point? I hope that helps.
We have Medjugorje, then Bauchi.
Hello.
We can hear you.
My name is Isaac. So my question is like this: I need an advice on how to start investing with little money, like 10,000, as a student.
All right, well done. I already answered you. You know the different asset classes. And I have emphasized that for beginners who you want to start and start to build your investment and everything, your lowest hanging fruits will be the money market mutual fund. So you have 10,000. If you have 10,000 per month, if I have 10,000 per month, I don't know what your age is, but what will I do? I probably first of all will take 5,000 naira and open a mutual fund with maybe a Stanbic IBTC or wherever. And I'll make up my mind that every month I'll be adding to it. Because you see, I haven't gone through these asset classes. Some of them are risky. When you lose money badly. But some of them, like the money market mutual fund, like the saving bond, they are low risk. They sort of stabilize your portfolio. If anything happens, your money will still be there. So build on that. Build on that. The reason why people are not investing again is because they have lost money in many things. And they have not set the foundation with the very low risk asset classes. So 10,000, open a mutual fund and be building on it. Maybe another 5,000. Out of that one, you can explore. I want to buy stocks, US stocks every month. $10 is how much now? $1 is 1.7, Abi. Even if it's $1 what you're buying. But even in Nigeria, many of those stocks are priced under 100 naira, under 30 naira. You can decide, I want to buy what company stocks. You can buy fractionally. You can then buy, I want to buy 10 stocks every month. So it depends. Then another month you might say, okay, I want to buy, I've done equities, I've done mutual funds. I want to diversify. But I think for a lot of people, build up your cash and cash equivalent asset class. Have something substantial. And then you can start to consider all of those asset classes. This is a very conservative advice. And it's not specific financial advice, it's just financial education. Because some people will say, don't mind her, go and do crypto. She doesn't know what she's saying. I have been here and I've been there. I have done all the asset classes. I'm telling you from experience. You see that one that is low risk, that is low return. At the end of the day, when the market is bleeding and everybody is crying, that's the only one that you can fall back on in most cases. So 10,000 naira, start with mutual fund. Explore equities depending on your age. As time goes on, explore fixed income. Yeah, when I think for fixed income, for the likes of treasury bills, there's usually a minimum. There's a minimum of maybe 100, I'm not sure. But build and use your money market mutual fund to build your money and to build the right habits. I hope that helps. I see some questions in the comments.
Yes.
Somebody said,
yes.
How secure are these fintech investment platforms and abroad, including Bamboo? My dearest brothers and sisters, we live a life of trust and hope. Now, fintech has come to stay, in my opinion. But as to how secure they are, how credible, some of them, we have worked with them for a while, they seem promising. But we have also seen fintech companies across Africa that have failed. But I know that Bamboo, I'm not advertising for them. I don't have any relation, any whatever with them. But I know that they are also in partnership with an American company, I think Drive Wealth. That's the fund manager that they use. So most likely, the reason I'm quite well assured is that the stocks are bought through them. I receive notifications from the companies, actually, I think, yes. Maybe for annual general meetings, when it's time to vote, when dividends are paid. The only thing is that I don't have direct access to them. It is through a fintech company. I don't know, but read up about them. Some fail, some succeed. And that's why, again, focus and emphasis on the things that you can control. If you have an asset management company through which you're buying stocks in Nigeria, you can always go to the office to say, I cannot get my money, I want my money back. And I know that some of these Nigerian asset management companies are also going into US stocks. So if you are not quite comfortable with fintech, go with the traditional companies. Why are bankers secretive about giving out investment opportunities through their banks? Well, it's a knowledge thing. For example, Stanbic IBTC has a bank, and there's Stanbic IBTC asset management companies. The bank will give you 0.5% on savings, but the asset management companies, which is different, will give you 8%, 10% on mutual funds. It is not a secret thing. Everybody knows that most banks have their asset management companies. So information and knowledge seeking is what will make you unravel some of those things. It's not secret. Almost all of them. United Bank of Africa has United Capital. It's not a secret. GTB has Investment One. Many of them have their investment arms. The only thing is that the regulations are different. Their investment arms are not also excluded from what happens when the investment climate is unfriendly. So the onus is still on you as an individual to do your due diligence. How would you advise somebody who would like to buy shares in dollars if using Naira is not feasible? Most of those assets, Bamboo, for example, there's Trove, there's Bamboo. You can buy from a Naira position, actually. You can buy with Naira through them. Somebody said, I lost a lot of money investment in agri-based fintech companies. I know. The agri-based fintech companies or agricultural, whatever, agro-tech companies suffered a lot of loss in the last 2 years, 3 years. What would be my advice for future investments? With all of the things that you have learned today, know the amount of risks that you can take. These days, people actually go into farming. They actually work with farmers and, people that will help them invest in the agri space and not necessarily through the fintech platforms. So know your risk appetite, do your research on the companies, weigh your options, right? Then decide. I know a lot of young people have gone into farming these days. So as against putting your money through an agro-tech company, you might want to do traditional farming in partnership with people. Again, future investment, diversify your portfolio, have low-risk assets. Don't put all your money in high-risk assets. Diversify your portfolio and set limits. I'm not saying don't take risks, but always optimize and balance your portfolio so that when you lose money in some instances, you still have something to fall back on. I hope that helps.
We have the last question from Bauchi.
Go ahead. Good afternoon. My question is also the same with the first question. For example, I bought a stock, let me say a share, at the rate of 500,000 naira, and that stock became mine. So at the point in time, I'm so much in need of money, and I went so many places to get a loan, and I did not get that loan. So I have, for example, the person sitting right next to me said that he can buy that stock from me at the rate of maybe 700,000 or maybe 800,000. And the stock at that very time in the company is not up to that amount of money. So can I, for example, sell it to him and told the stock manager that I'm gifting that stock to that person?
I'm not sure I get your question, but let me try and, okay.
For example, I bought a share, let me say a stock at the rate of 500,000 naira. And at a point in time, I'm so much in need of money and I've gone to so many places to get that amount of money I'm in need and I've not gotten it. So maybe, for example, the person sitting right next to me said that he will buy that stock, or let me say share, at the amount of 700,000 or maybe 800,000. So can I sell it to him and told the stock manager that I'm gifting that stock to the guy?
I get your question. Very hilarious, but thank you for asking. Now, the stock market is not, what's the word? The stock market is not as flexible as we're describing it here. All this gifting is not that easy like that. Oh. Do you understand? But back to your question. The pricing on the stock market is determined by the dynamics of the market per time. If you bought a stock at 500 per share and it has gone to 400 per share, that is how much you're able to sell it. If you don't have a friend beside you who wants to buy the share or you want to give them, even if the stockbroker is going to facilitate anything, they are going to facilitate it at the cost, prevailing cost on the market day. So if they sell it to your brother or they give it to your brother at 400, that's what the value of your brother is going to get. If your brother then decides to not give you money at 700K between the two of you, that's your own business. Do you understand? The stock market is highly regulated. And this gifting, I mean, I answered based on a generic whatever that. Yes, it is possible to gift, but it's not as if you can just walk up to a stock and say, I want to gift my share. And they say, okay, yeah, gift, so yeah, sign a form, that's it. There's usually a process, and the dynamics are quite complex. But if you want to sell your share, why not sell? If you want to gift it, but it will be at the prevailing market rate. And nobody usually has control over what the rate is. It is determined by the market forces of demand and supply. Do you see? I hope that helps, Mr. Gifter.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Shola Adeshaki. Can we put our hands together for what a wonderful session? We're so appreciative of your teaching. I was the one that asked the question about the banker not giving out information. Last session, you remember we had the conversation. And I took to your advice and I went to the bank. And I asked the banker, and this banker was evasive, was not forthcoming at all. I said, give me the investment opportunities here. I won't mention the bank. And he will just say, how much do I have? I said, no, give me the opportunities here and let me decide on what I want to do. You can't believe it, he didn't budge. So the point I'm saying here is, and this is not the first time, but thank you, I was able to push and finally was able to speak. And I made investment on that day. So thank you very, very much.
I'll tell you why they also want to do that. Don't forget there are two different institutions with different targets, even though they are owned by the same holding company, right?
Yes.
So the person in the bank wants you to bring the money rather than taking it to their investment arm.
That's exactly what I thought.
Too.
So that's, and then what he did eventually was to go and bring somebody who was, she was standing somewhere and was saying, well, we have this insurance package. I said, hey, I'm not here for insurance. He said, you can buy as many insurance as you like. I said, look, I'm not here for insurance. I want investment. So I want to really advise young people, you need a lot of knowledge. How I wish a bit younger and hearing messages like this, I will have been able to put my money in the right places. But please take advantage of what you have heard. And this session is recorded on our YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com/@American Spaces Nigeria. And you'll see exactly what we have done today. So I really appreciate Mrs. Nishakin for coming. Please make sure you write your names, and the directors are going to send your names for certificate of participation. But guess what? We're starting our MOOC camp. Our MOOC camp is also going to be on a Tuesday like this at 1:30 p.m. And we are looking at artificial intelligence. Getting started with artificial intelligence. You might really want to be part of this session because this is the in thing and we really want to introduce you to it. So if you really, really want to be there, it's also going to be 5 weeks. We want you to register. You can even register before you go. Make sure you are there. Anybody who comes late will not be accepted as being registered for that day. 80% attendance is also very important. Please, let's keep a date with us. Thank you, everybody, and hoping to see you soon. On Thursday, we have Speak with a Diplomat, and I'm happy to announce to you that we have a very, very lovely speaker for that day. An American, a diplomat, who will be talking about diplomacy. I want you to come. I don't want you to miss it. 10 a.m. on Thursday at the same venue where you are, and you will be glad you are there because you're going to understand a lot of things we do. Why are we doing what we are doing, and how you can benefit. A lot of other things, Education USA, scholarships, and so on and so forth. So we'll give you this opportunity. Please make sure you make a date with us. So, and with that, I want to thank everybody for coming. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye, everybody.